Fred Film Radio from the 81st Venice Film Festival. I'm Angelo. I'm here with Kevin Macdonald, director and producer of 121 John and Yoko. Good morning.
Very nice to be here. How are you?
I'm very happy to have the chance to talk to you because your film blew my mind yesterday night.
Oh, thank you.
Because it's like a fresco of what the 70s were like in US through the eyes of a British citizen, basically.
Yes.
The film is based on this name also after this concert, the only concert that John and Yoko did in New York.
Yes.
But it's much more than that. It's not just the concert. Yes. It's a collection of footage which is unbelievable. So my first question is, how did you come to put your hands on that kind of footage?
Well, I was a John Lennon fan growing up. Because I was the right age. He died when I was 13 years old. I was an intense teenager. And I remember really relating to him and to his idealistic message of his songs. And so when Mercury Studios, which is part of Universal Music, approached me and said, we have this concert, we're remastering it. It's never really been heard. Would you like to make a film about it? I was like, yes, of course. But then I had to think, how the hell do you make something fresh about John Lennon and Yoko Ono? And so I then started reading interviews with John, and I came across this phrase, which is, he says, when I arrived in America, I spent the first 2 years just watching TV. And this was my window on the world. And I understood the country through this. And it made me think of when I was first going to America in the 80s and the 90s and sitting in motel rooms in America, having come from England where we had 3 channels. And the TV closed at 11:30 and they played the national anthem. And you go to America and they have 24-hour TV, 195 channels, and you sit and you go through an all-human life, click, 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 you're going through the channels. And I thought, oh, that's what John's talking about. He just was fascinated by the strangeness of America and this window into the soul of the country. And so we started using this idea to collect archive, political archive, but also entertainment shows, commercials, to represent the period and to just balance them up. And then we combined these with a lot of fresh archive from the Lennon family. They opened their doors to us and gave us...
Oh, this is why, because there was tons of unseen.
Tons of unseen stuff,
footage.
Lots of home movie footage, great stuff they shot on the very earliest home video camera was called a Portapac, and it's black and white footage, and there's a lot of that black and white footage. There's also amazing phone calls, which they had. They recorded all their phone calls for a while. So one of the running gags in the film are these phone calls, which come back again and again. So even if you're a big Beatles fan, even if you're a huge John Lennon fan, there's a lot of things in here that you won't have seen and heard.
And one very unexpected thing is to find out that he was more of a political animal than a musical animal when he was in US.
Yes, he arrived in America in, I think, October 71. And flower power was over. There was a kind of cynicism had developed. The Vietnam War was still going on, but nobody knew how to stop it. And he thought, okay, I'm going to make it my mission to get politically involved and try and prevent Richard Nixon, the corrupt president, from being reelected. So he was involved with Jerry Rubin, who's one of the famous kind of revolutionaries. He was involved in the Chicago riots of '68. And they formed a kind of political band, and they were going to tour America, doing anti-Nixon tour. But then, we'll have to see the film to find. But that all went wrong, and in the end, they did only one concert, which was the concert that was filmed, which is not a political concert. And in the end, and you realize that the concert was done to help disabled children, particular children from a particular really horrible children's a home for the disabled children, and you see John's compassion and Yoko's compassion.
Yeah, this is why I was saying that it was political in terms, not just for politics, but just to make something, to make an action, to be a militant for something.
I think that's it. I think I see the progression of the film politically as being somebody who thinks we're going to change the world through revolution, we're going to destroy things and tear them down, and then you see the development of actually, no, the best thing I can do is just do something to change the lives for the better of a few people, for these children. So it becomes, I think a lot of us go through that journey in politics. It's like, well, you can't really change anything through the political means. You have to just do something small that you can achieve yourself.
One last question about the editing of the film. The film is edited like as we were switching channels as well.
Yes.
But there is also kind of a reminder of what the musical culture was in that time, the use of drugs, the use of trips, the use of LSD. So everything is very acid, if I may say so.
Yes.
Was it your purpose too?
Well, I wanted to find a balance between this being a kind of experiential trip out kind of film where you're just in the moment with them and watching all this crazy footage and going then to the music every now and again to the concert. But I wanted to find a way to balance the chaos with some order, with some narrative. So there is a kind of a narrative through it, but yeah, that was the hardest thing. Is it too much narrative? Would take it out a bit? Do we need to go a bit crazier here, a little less crazy there? That was the challenge.
But at the end of the day, you managed to do it in the right way, to me at least.
Thank you. That's really nice.
Well, thanks a lot to Kevin Macdonald, director of 1-to-1 John and Yoko from the Venice Film Festival 81st edition. I'm Angelo Acerbi for Fred, the Festival Insider. Thank you.
Thank you very much.